So I'm Dan Nagy, and this is Caffeinated Creatives with Michael Hamm. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Michael
Okay,
Hamm,
Michael
the
Hamm,
one
yeah.
and only. Finally, we've spoken a few times, and then we had a long
Yeah.
phone call. I'm like, shoot, this could be an
That's
episode
right, yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And then you were kind enough to have me for one of the jobs that you got.
Yeah. Coming
And
up soon, yeah.
I've been checking out your videos. They're freaking phenomenal.
Thank you, yeah.
I love your drone stuff. They're very creative.
Okay, cool.
Your wedding videos, your commercials. It's like, damn.
Yeah, thank you.
Like,
Thank you so much, Danny. Yeah, it's great to be on here and
Yes, sir.
Yeah, looking forward to, talking more about this stuff with you.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, where do you want to start, or how do we want to
I want to
don't
tell
know.
you what
Okay.
inspired this, because I don't think I told you what inspired this kind of a show.
Okay.
So I love food, I love cooking, I love coffee, and I got into this show called Hot Ones.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it.
Never seen that, no.
It's been going on for like a long time. It's strictly on YouTube, and it's a 101 kind of interview with hot food, increasing hotness of chicken.
Oh gosh, dang. Okay.
And it's really cool, like a well curated people. It's seasonal based, so it's not really a podcast. It's kind of, would call it a talk show.
Okay.
But it's food based. So I'm like, that's awesome. And I got into coffee a few years ago because I realized I spent so much money when I was in college. I'm
Yeah.
like, shoot, I could have. And I started getting these different makers, and I always wanted to get espresso because I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I took classes. I went to online school to make espresso.
Wow. Okay.
And last year, my future brother-in-law, depending on when you guys are watching it, maybe my
Right,
brother-in-law
yeah.
then, he's been roasting coffee beans for the past 10 years plus.
Wow.
And he
10
got
years.
me a coffee roaster, which is this.
Yeah. I like the more impressive kind over here. That looks a lot more, intricate.
This is a coffee
It's a little
roaster.
older. Yeah.
So it's a one batch. You can only do 100 grams at a time. It's not, so you can taste it. But
Okay.
the funny thing is with coffee, I don't know what your knowledge on coffee is.
When I first got into coffee, I was never into coffee when I was younger, or let alone as a child. I was never into it. But then, film school came around, and my first, short film, which had to be a silent film, I had to do it, and then there was like this very tight deadline to make it, happen and everything. Not tight, but a very strict deadline. Hey, we got to have your film done at this time, at this day, all that sort of stuff. So overnight, I was editing and everything else. This masterpiece that I call the short film that I made, and overnight, and I was also dating this girl at the time who got me into this whole coffee thing, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna have a coffee, because I've been up all night and I still need to finish this thing, and that's sort of the introduction. And then I was always telling myself, just one a week. That's how it starts. Like, okay, I'm just gonna have one a week, and then one a week turned into like one a day. So, but I was always interested in just iced coffee because so I love iced coffee. So
I love iced coffee. I'm
Yeah.
a sucker for hazelnut. Always
Hazelnut.
whatever with hazelnut.
Okay.
But now the only hazelnut I love, and that's a funny thing because Starbucks coffee is very much of a commodity.
Oh yeah.
But their hazelnut is phenomenal, like no other place I like. Actually, there was one place they made it themselves, and I want to learn how to make hazelnut. But what's interesting about coffee is, did you know that caffeine is a natural bug repellent? That's why
Bug
it has.
repellent.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And the higher altitude you are in, or the higher altitude the coffee beans or the coffee cherry grows, the less caffeine it has, and the lower it has more caffeine because there are more bucks in lower altitude.
Gotcha.
And so there are these different types of coffee cherries. There is, I think, 6, 4 more well-known, but 2 there are that consumers use. There's Arabica and Robusta. And Robusta known to have higher caffeine content.
Gotcha.
You see, Death Wish coffee, they use Robusta. They use a blend. Funny, I can point to it. They use a blend, and because they want a higher caffeine extraction or higher caffeine in it.
Wow.
But there's what's interesting about coffee and the making of coffee is it's super scientific. Scientific.
Right.
However you say it.
Yeah, scientific. Yeah.
And there's so many ways of harvesting the coffee, and depending on the way it's harvested, it has different flavors. And it's kind of like tea, which the difference between green tea, black tea, long tea, white tea is that you have the stem and you have the leaves. You have one leaf down, and all these things give you a different flavor.
Right.
Now, anyway, that is a lot.
Well, that's a lot of information.
That's a lot
about
of
coffee.
information.
Yeah. No wonder
but
this
that
is
tells
called
you how.
Caffeinated Creatives, because
Yes,
we have
I
a
know.
very caffeinated creative right here.
I know.
Yeah.
Today, I wanted to make a couple of different ones and taste it with you. So yesterday you told me that you love cold brew.
Yeah, that's the only
I've
thing
made
I
it
do, yeah.
once in my past. I know how to make it, but that one has been infusing for the past 12 hours, and I think it's pretty strong because I use the 1 to 5 ratio.
Okay, all right.
So let's go small by small. That's a Colombian bean, I think. So we're gonna use this, and as y'all can tell, here's the coffee, creamer, milk, and this was going to be for something else, but here it is.
Okay.
Let's see.
So this is the iced.
This is cold.
Cold, right? Yeah, okay, cool.
So we're gonna start with a sampler size.
And you said this was pretty strong, right?
I think so, because there's a lot of solids that were being infused. Let's see. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here's
Here
to
we
you.
go.
It is strong. Jesus Christ.
Wow. Yeah.
Woo!
That is very strong. Yeah.
That is a wake upper, buddy.
Well done. Yeah. Well done there. Yeah.
Woo! I should have probably gone with. Well, they did say
that was really good. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's smooth, strong.
Yeah. That is it right there. Yeah.
If you don't like it,
no. I like it. I mean, I usually take mine with like sweetener, whatever.
Oh yeah,
but it's
you
like,
are welcome.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yes, there's everything here. There's milk, half and half, and coconut sugar.
Oh, very good.
Raw coconut sugar. Raw coconut sugar is great. So now that we had it without the milk, I'm gonna actually try it with the milk.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah?
Very strong too.
Strong?
Like you said, yeah.
It's because it's been seeping for a long time. And seeping does make a lot of change in how much of that is extracted. Not bad, honestly. You may have just inspired me to do more of this.
Yeah, you should do more of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you could even, make a whole franchise out of that thing right there. Yeah, that's good coffee right there. Yeah. Bam.
These are not beans that I've roasted.
Okay.
But I am gonna use this, and it's not a paid advertisement or anything, but I love their coffee and their brand, and this is what we're gonna try. Usually I am having my coffee beans, not to sell or anything, but just for the experience of it.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is more of a special occasion because you're the first person to experience the new studios, like stages, and the idea is to immerse you in the process also while we're talking about creativity, business, and things like that. So that's the fast pace of what it is about.
Yeah.
Michael, So, what inspired you to become a filmmaker?
What inspired me to become a filmmaker was I started at a very early age when I was filming stuff with my friends around the cul-de-sac and around the neighborhood that I was in, as well as so I was just filming stuff with my brothers, friends, and we would make like Indiana Jones or Star Wars inspired like
Heck yeah.
films around the neighborhood, and it was very like. It was just a camera and that's all that we were using, and I would be the one that was shooting it and then the one editing it and then spending all those hours just editing all of this stuff that we made. But I really enjoyed, just the overall, of course I didn't know all the things that I know now, but, it was just for fun and really enjoyed, putting it all together, regardless if there was a story or not, but, it was just, having fun with the camera and making, trying to get my brothers, to get in on this and stuff like that. So that's how I usually started it. And then from there, I got into, the overall, realized that I could make a profession out of this because people saw the quality of work that I was putting out, especially with, the gift that I have for composition and shooting and editing and everything else, and the hours that I spend to, create a product and stuff. So that's how I got into it at an early age during like high school, and was starting to film like weddings, and was also filming a bunch of stuff for my high school, which was really cool. And I was always very like creative. So, I was always in the plays, but also, had a very competitive spirit because I grew up with, two younger brothers, and so very much like, into the whole like sports stuff too. So, and then from there, I just gravitated towards, took my passion into a career, which was, filmmaking, and went to, got a couple scholarships to Watkins College of Art, and that's how I
No way.
pretty much got into it. But then so
When did you finish?
2019.
2019.
Yeah,
Dang.
that's a
You may have met my friend because he used to go and do a bunch of acting for
cool.
for students, graduate students, no, who were about to graduate in Atkins, and that's where we met. One of the guys who we started hiring a lot for music videos, who always played a shaman kind of like character, Tim.
Okay.
Tim somebody.
Tim somebody. Okay.
I forgot his last name. I should know. Tim Roland.
Oh yeah.
You know Tim?
Yeah, I think I know Tim Roland. Yeah,
He's
actually
tall.
yeah. He
No
was actually
way, dude.
he was actually in one of my first short films. So like the first short film from film school. That of course, like I had talked about this before, like earlier before we were actually being recorded and everything else. But I was talking about how so our first short film was to be no dialogue, nothing else like that. So all basically visual storytelling. And I think I had and Tim Roland was one of the he was like playing this old man or something like that, and he really fit the part and really did a great job with it. And but yeah, it was nice to have him on set and everything else. We really enjoyed working together, and yeah, I love working with actors and getting really true performances and shows on my face when I'm directing and shooting and editing. It's it's what I'm passionate about, is is shooting content or shooting authentic performances.
Yes.
For people. So
Yes.
not the cookie cutter. Oh, hello, my name is. Yeah, that kind of stuff. It's we need to have a little bit more of a performance and
Acting.
and that's what I'm really acting, or showing a little bit more of a personality in front of the camera. And that's how I've come about when it comes to like directing people that aren't so familiar with the camera, or showing their authentic selves in camera or something like that. So it's and over the years I've developed that, and
takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a
even
long, yeah.
even as a musician, because I was always visual.
Yeah.
it was always hard for me to learn reading and things. I know how to read, but I have ADHD and a lot of those types of things, dyslexia. But I could not sit still and read a book. But
Yeah.
I'm very visual. Like if I see it, I remember it. We had my cousin. We had a cheap recorder camera. We were making our own like funny kind of videos.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then later on, actually no, I was doing a lot of performance, like recording myself play guitar. And then what inspired me to get into video is I was then when I was at college, I took a video class.
Oh, wow.
And because I wanted to open a music and video production company, I wanted to be able to, because while I'm working on a song, I'm already seeing what it could look like.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
yeah.
it would be. So I thought that would be so cool if I could somehow also offer that and do something that is not cookie cutter, because there's so many music, there's so much content that looks the same, that has the same
yeah.
vibe.
Exactly.
You know, how can you create something that's visually appealing and memorable? And it's just a lot of finding good styles, having your own sound
Right.
and your vision, but that takes time to develop.
Yeah.
Like even with wedding films, there's
Yeah.
a lot of times you are gonna do something that was done before, but you also try to put a little bit of what you think is cool and kind of
Right.
push those brownies.
Right. Exactly right, yeah.
How long have you been doing weddings?
So weddings for about 6 years
Oh,
professionally.
wow.
So honestly, it's been even before that, like I started shooting weddings back in like 2014. I think my first wedding I shot was like $400.
Wow.
And I did that for a cousin of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really great, really sweet. And honestly, looking back now, I would have charged this person, one of my family members, a little bit more, but because it included two cameras, a voiceover, and I was doing a bunch of shooting all over this specific location up in Pittsburgh and everything. And so I would be on the train filming this. It was a whole experience,
Wow.
like going backwards in time of this couple and filming like what it would have looked like, going through her whole voiceover, like, oh yeah, we met on a train going into that sort of thing. So
That is really
so
cool.
filming that while also filming then the wedding and everything, and of course that as well as the vows and stuff like that. But yeah, it was that's how I started. And then with weddings 2014, and then people saw my work, and that gravitated into more work and started making reels and stuff like that as I was getting into film school and stuff like that, because that was always a big asset to have when going into film school. Like I had 2 scholarships when I went into film school, which was great, and those were all dedicated from my reel and stuff like that. And but that's when I started. Yeah.
Wow.
2014. Yeah, long time.
How has wedding filmmaking inspired your other types of filmmaking and vice versa?
I think when shooting weddings, it's very fast-paced. Very fast-paced, especially when working with the wedding coordinator and as well as the bride, the groom, and as well as the other photographer. So it's very much a collaborative effort, and I think that coincides with filmmaking in general, is that it's always very collaborative when you're working with another DP or director of photography or a sound guy or even a lighting guy, or I would say gaffer, but I know some people may not know these terms, so I'm just saying lighting guy.
Yeah.
It would be the gaffer, and so but yeah, like weddings, every wedding is different, and you sort of have to cater to that wedding. Like some would be a bit more like fun, fast-paced. The other is a little bit more elegant with the golf claps at the end and stuff like that. And but I don't know. I mean, that's typically my wedding experience. I've had really great success with brides on their final return, and and having a quick turnaround and making things happen for them, because they're the ones who are investing, and you know, you got to get it to them quickly so that they, let alone you know, it's making sure that they're happy. And
It's a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of pre-work, like communication.
Right.
There's a, you know, that's very important.
Right.
You know, establishing a good relationship,
Rapport, yeah.
timeline, and then of course the shooting, and depending on what stuff you got, you know, multiple cameras, audio recording, drone recording.
Right. Yeah.
Vows,
all the things.
It's a lot of things to think about, and after that the editing. So a lot of times, just explaining or educating. That's how I call it. You know, people say the negotiation, things like that, but I think education is the most important thing. This is what entails, and this is why it costs this much.
Right.
Because
educating the customer, educating the client.
it's so much work, you know.
Yeah.
Even the editing and all this stuff, it can take a while to do something that even you as a filmmaker will feel like, yeah, I'm happy with this.
Yeah.
But at the end, it's theirs. So that's the funny thing is, you also have to learn how to separate what you or me or us as filmmakers, or you know, think is good versus what they think is good. And what are you willing to sacrifice? What are your thoughts on this sort of thing?
Yeah, I think it's a balancing act, and at the end of the day, they're paying for something that they want. I think there are, you know, of course, it's a very competitive field, so there's a lot of competition out there when it comes to like packages and stuff like that. So I pretty much cater to the actual, you know, couple themselves. Like if they want, you know, a 2 to 5 minute wedding film, totally cool. And sometimes, you know, they'll give me like, I had this one couple once a couple years ago where they gave me like 2 sheets of paper of, you know, what they want captured. And I'm like, 2 sheets of paper.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm reading this back and forth, and I got a buddy of mine to shoot second camera with me just to be sure that we got all the things on these 2 sheets of paper. And thankfully they were able to, you know, pay for the second videographer to come in and make sure everything was all good. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is your content, it is your work, and you can always make something for yourself to put out, you know, but make something for them while also making something for yourself. I think that's also very valuable in regards to, like, you know, making a highlight reel or a TikTok reel of, you know, this very short, you know, 5-10 seconds of, you know, what you wanted to showcase to the world, and then having, you know, something that, you know, they wanted to, you know, showcase. Oh, maybe they didn't like the song or something, but of course that always like changes things, you know, especially with the edit. Like the song is very important. Like, okay, you don't like the song? Oh no. So
I feel
then we have to, you know, go through our database of, you know, non-copyrighted, you know, music to find the best song, or, you know, if it's just for them personally, I mean, then that's another story. But yeah, I mean, it's making sure that they're happy at the end of the day, and providing a quality service with, you know, like you said, like, you know, communicating and being sure that, you know, you're getting what they want, and, you know, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and I think that's very important. And yeah, I don't know of anything. What else did you?
I don't remember. I'm just taking in all the
taking
things
it all
that you're
in.
saying.
Yeah, I mean,
you were talking about a competitiveness of the business.
Yeah.
In the music realm, it's very similar too, especially in Nashville. But also when you want to play out, there's a lot of places that literally you either have to pay to play, or you don't get a starting price, which is kind of insane to think about.
What do you mean, like where?
Like you don't have a base
weddings?
price. No, as a musician.
Oh, okay.
Like
gotcha.
in Nashville, there are a lot of places where there's no base price. And it's so competitive. There's a lot of people that still will do it for free.
Gosh dang.
Which means that they're reliant on the tips.
Yeah.
But I've shot some videos for bands who got really good tips, but there are some people who play like 3 hours and they
Yeah.
get like very little. And the things to consider is you have to rehearse, buy the equipment,
Yeah,
you know,
I see this equipment all around here. Like, we got the piano and
practice multiple times, gas going
Oh,
away.
wow.
So there's so many factors to consider. Like, how does one sit down and judge, is this a good livable wage? Or, you know, like, I'm sure you also have to like look at how much you earn and see how is this not helping, but contributing to forward motion and things like that. Like, consider like cost of living, or this is,
Yeah.
do you look at this is what I need, or I don't know, there's so many ways to look at how
Right.
you price things.
Exactly, and I think every client is different. Like I had, like realtors are different than a whole full-on business.
Interesting.
I mean, realtors are different. I mean, whenever you're filming a realtor, that's, you know, a different business than a business that does, you know, a catering company, or if you were to shoot a catering company, or because they're an actual service. A realtor is also providing a service, but it's a little bit more of a, what did you say? Personal, or I don't know, it's, like I've done some work for a lot of realtors, like profile videos and stuff like that, and as well as, you know, real estate shoots, you know, that they're, you know, you're just there for, you know, maybe like an hour, and, you know, you're just, you know, shooting the shots and everything, and then, you know, whereas a business, you probably want, you know, a little bit more of a marketing ad, or, you know, that will require a little bit more of a lighting, shooting time, editing, as well as personnel to overall hold the lighting and all the grip work and all of the audio work and all of the making sure that it looks good. Because, you know, you don't want, you know, a business to come in with just an hour of just, you know, and then you to go into a business for just an hour and leave, because you're not going to get the you're not going to get, you know,
Yeah, I know what
you're
you're
not gonna,
talking
you're not going
about,
to film
yeah.
everything. You're not going to be able to film everything in that hour. You know, you're
No,
gonna, you know,
yeah.
Let alone you're not going to be able to film it professionally within that hour, because you have to set it up. You have to make sure that, you know, the script is right, making sure the outline is right, making sure that, you know, the client is, you know, there, and making sure that they're happy at the end of the day as well as during the day. So
I agree completely, yeah. That is a lot of things to think about.
yeah.
You know, even before you shoot, you have pre-production meetings.
Oh,
like,
right.
what are the things that you want to talk about? What are your sales points and
Right.
things like that. I've done music for ads,
Yeah.
and then they send a bunch of like, this is the kind of vibe they want, things like. But ever since the AI and all these libraries started to exist, people
right.
more like to like go to Motion Array and
Yeah.
get something there rather than pay, because it used to be like $1,000 per minute for music,
Oh wow.
and
Interesting.
it's kind of like a set price ish.
I did not know that it was 1,000 a minute.
That
Wow.
could be like, I've done a score for a horror short. It was 1,000 a minute per scoring. It was also a lot of work because everything was custom scored, all the instruments and everything. And we had a lot of sound design in it. That stuff is cool.
Yeah.
There's another
Foley and
film
stuff.
company out of Bellevue, I think. Eric somebody.
Eric somebody. Okay.
Cool. I met him at the
All right.
gym.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I met
fun.
so
All
many
right,
people
yeah.
at the gym. It's so
Oh, me
funny.
too. Yeah, I've met some. You know, I know like my mentor goes to the same gym as I do, and I see him there occasionally. And yeah, I mean, I see so many people out and about. Like I have one of my early mentors still goes to this coffee shop in Lenox Village where I live, and you know, I see him, you know, off and on here and there when I go there. And, but yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's just cool to see that there's such a cool creative community here in Nashville and everything else. So
Oh
it's,
yes, and I think
creative video and everything.
nothing still can beat person-to-person meetings.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think COVID kind of messed with it a little.
Yeah.
Like I remember during the whole COVID thing of my old company, we used to do a lot of like cold emails and stuff, which is way more difficult because now you're in like multiple fields where there's a lot of saturation,
Right.
and you're trying to communicate your value without showing who you are and things like that. Then
what you're doing is a visual medium, and it's like, okay, our visual medium in the case that if you're sending out an email, and everybody is different, so it's like sending an email without any it's making cold emails are hard. Yeah.
Because I think first and foremost you sell yourself, your personality.
Right.
Not necessarily what you do first, but how are you as a person, in my opinion.
Right.
And then what values you have, or what values you can give to X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. Do you have something that they might need? Then are your prices aligning? Because if not, then you're not a good choice.
Right.
Or I am not, because if they're underpaying
that's right. That's another thing is
then you're gonna overwork for something that's
that's not worth your time.
Yes.
Or because it's like you said, it's about educating the client that, hey, this is going to take some time to shoot, let alone making sure that we're walking into a project that you are going to be happy with, and not something that it's going to be all run and gun.
Yeah.
Now, most of the time, real estate shoots, like I said before, are pretty much run and gun. You're pretty much, running into this house, and I've ran into over 600 houses.
I know. I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've ran into
Jesus.
my handful of houses where they were not prepared, where they had shit stains on the car. Sorry, my language, but
that's okay.
Stains on the carpet and all that sort of stuff. So it was very, I was running into those situations, but also running into areas where it was a very, beautiful houses, $1 million houses, out in Brentwood, sometimes way out in like West Tennessee and stuff like that. Very well kept, very well prepared and everything. And those are the best, those are the best shoots, of course, when everything looks neat, tidy, and ready to go. And like, I can even riff off on, making sure that because it's a business and you want to make sure that you're representing their business well, and it's important to have those conversations with the business owner to ensure that you are, that you're both on the same terms of making a great product, and that it's going to look well, be polished well, and have great communication on all fronts, and you're in a budget where it's like, okay, we have the budget, and we are I'm happy, you're happy, and full straight ahead. But yeah, it's like, some clients are like, okay, well, we have, a budget of $250 or something like that. That's not gonna, I don't know, I mean, that's not
what's the expectation they
want? What's the expectations? Yeah, setting the right expectations is very important.
My experience was the lower the budget was, the more notes I got, and the more they tried to squeeze it.
Right.
And folks that had a bigger budget, where they knew more what they wanted.
Yes.
They were more experienced, and they were less pain. Or less of a hassle.
Less pain, right? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, you can work with somebody and you're doing your best, and they just seem like they want to push the project more and more out, away, and taking their time.
Right. Yeah.
There's so many aspects to being your business owner that one has to learn, and one of it is also turning down people, saying no. And not being afraid of no, because money is like, excuse me, but like, I want it.
That was perfect timing, by the way. That was very perfect timing. That was very perfect timing.
You're like,
you caught it at the right time.
Come back, come here.
Yeah, good timing. Yeah.
But sometimes, I learned, at least, I have to foresee what other things it can come with. If it's something that that the budget isn't really making sense. then
Exactly. The budget has to make sense.
I
For the work
learned
that you're doing.
I was looking at videos of like folks who have YouTube channels talk about like how do you get into a certain type of industry, and they're talking about like you could offer like a lower budget to have an example of something, or maybe free, but don't expect that person to pay you in the future. Do it to have something really professional and market it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and my strategy is like I wanna book less weddings, but on a higher budget, so that I don't have to do as many weddings to meet the same budget, because 12-hour day is a rough day. It's gonna it tires me at least for the next 2 days.
12-hour day. Wow, that's a very long day. I mean, especially for a wedding.
Yes.
Honestly, that's really long.
Well, you were talking about second shooting. The way I got into weddings was I shot music video, romantic music videos where we had to direct. It was funny because it was for a major country artist.
Oh wow, okay.
But the thing is, weirdly, they did not choose to use the video. We have no idea. They paid fully. We shot this couple doing really beautiful stuff, drone, everything.
Wow, okay.
And for some reason it was not. They used a different one that we also did, but they didn't use that.
What do you mean, different drone or different?
No. We did a bunch of content for that artist.
Oh wow, so they didn't use it or no?
They didn't use that. It was a performance video with shot footages. Kind of like it had a story of like a couple having fun. It's like romantic scenes from like weddings.
Okay.
But for some reason, they didn't choose to use it, which we were like, I don't know why. We thought it was cool. Whatever. And then I showed it to somebody, and that person was like, "Oh, have you ever considered shooting weddings?" I'm like, "No, I am." And it was so difficult to get into because I shot a lot of music videos, directed, shot.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
had a lot of really cool conceptual stuff.
Right.
But it was difficult to get into it because people were like, "Oh, you only have one chance," and things like that. And somehow I was able to. I found this one guy, who I'm gonna name in a moment.
Okay.
Who hired me as a second shooter.
That's awesome.
And he's like, "Are you available? I need somebody." And then he hired me. And then I told him this is kind of my first wedding. I was nervous as fuck. I was super nervous.
This is your first wedding?
That was my first wedding,
Okay.
and that was last year. But since then, I shot nearly more than 20.
Wow, bam.
In 1 year, which I went from. I'm good at giving directions, and I saw a lot of videos. So that other guy who got me
also
into
very helpful. Looking back.
that camera, I analyzed his whole video. Like the day before the shoot, I called him. I wrote 107-page analysis of your video, like shot by shot.
Oh, really? Whoa,
Yeah, that's how I
crazy.
learned
Okay,
some.
Cool. Yeah.
That's how I learned some of the romantic positions, like not positions, but like you have the couple walking
towards
each
together.
other. You know what I'm talking.
Yeah. Walking together, maybe the hand over the. And then what I thought was very interesting. Then they have the seat belt. I don't know if you know that. That's a term that people use, and I got that from a photographer once. And seatbelt.
And then photographers, I learned so much from photographers. But I shot 2 weddings with that guy, but he wasn't a Sony user, so I think he preferred to have somebody who's a Canon shooter, and he wasn't a log shooter.
Canon is the best way to go, by the way.
That's funny because most of the folks do use Sony.
Yeah. Most folks do use Sony. Yeah. Some people.
No, that Canon looks good. Like they all look really good. I think. And I've nearly shot for somebody.
You think?
I
okay.
I haven't. Like I'm
right.
Whatever. And I lost my train of thought. So I analyzed the second guy I shot for. That was my 3rd wedding. That was the hardest wedding.
Oh man.
It was a multicultural wedding.
Oh, that's fun.
And it started from 8 a.m. till like I got home at 1 a.m. or something.
Wow.
And funnily, it was funny because I really wanted to do it, and I didn't have that camera yet. So I pumped my own money. I spent like $400 on rentals just to have more content. And he said he said he was only gonna pay me $350 for the day.
Oh.
And I was like, So he gave me 500 plus $50 on a tip. And it was so much work. Like we were shooting nearly all of the reception, all the dances, everything. It was like 150 people, more than 150. It was crazy, man. I'm telling you.
It was a long day.
It was a long day. It was the longest ceremony. It was an hour and a half long ceremony.
An hour and a half?
Something like that. Yes, it was in multi-languages.
Oh, wow.
We were right by the priest,
Yeah.
which is not usual. Usually when you're doing
You're
like
doing it on the outside.
yeah, when you have church weddings, the priest tells you this is your limit.
Right. I had this one where it was at a church, and it's like, you know, you can't walk down the center of the aisle, and I'm actually seeing this photographer walking up and down the aisle. I'm like, okay, so she can, I can't.
Yeah, I know
but
it.
whatever, it's all right.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it's maybe she didn't get the memo, or you know, I do bring in, you know, quite a bit of gear, but so it's like, you know, and during this wedding I had me and another videographer, so you know, don't put any of your equipment over here, and it's like, okay, yeah, no problem, no easy. And you know, because I respect it, I, you know, honor it, so I don't want to step on any toes with the, you know, officiant or you know, the priest or anything like that. So, but that's really cool. I mean, it's doing multicultural weddings sounds like fun. I've not done one before.
I've only done it because the lead shooter, he is Egyptian.
Oh,
really cool dude. He was very specific with me, but what was funny is he came to me in the middle of the day, said, Danny, I like your shots when I'm not specific, just do your thing.
Oh, that's funny.
I was laughing because I was nervous, like, what am I doing? What do you want?
Yeah.
And I was looking at him, 70 millimeter, right over there. I've never gotten that much, what is it called, instruction before. I don't care, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting experience, but I learned a lot. It was super fast.
Right.
And then I started leading my own weddings after that. First wedding that I led, I was comfortable because I had a second shooter, so I could have I could have a little like, when I'm doing this, I'd like you to do this. You know, like you have a little to-do thing.
Right.
And it's
you have the to-do list. Yeah.
But when you're solo shooting and you have a fast-pacing day, that's when you are like, that's why it's worth to have a second shooter.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I think that's it's very valuable, but you know, you have to also understand that, you know, the bride and groom may not have the budget for it, so that's always a thing too.
I
and
know.
You have to educate them, and I think, but then again, it's also about the bride and making sure that she is okay with, you know, maybe, you know, sometimes, you know, the coordinator or the photographer can get a little, you know, like, fast paced, like, okay, and you know, you have to understand, take a step back, relax, and you know, make sure that, you know, hey, if the bride is okay with us, you know, maybe going, you know, 15 minutes with, you know, just doing a couple, you know, solo shots with the couple, you know, let her do it, you know. Don't be so pushed on time. Make sure that they're happy. Make sure that you know, they're comfortable with, you know, hey, you know, if we don't have, you know, 15 minutes, then you're gonna miss this, you know, time of, you know, together to get these beautiful shots on your wedding day. But
it's a lot of coordination.
Yeah.
It's a lot of coordination and comfort. You said the word, like, that's why I stress talking or getting to know the bride.
Right. That's
You're
great.
mostly gonna talk to the bride. The groom, they don't really care.
They don't care, yeah. Like,
but they appreciate a good like vibe. Like there are a couple that I vibe really good with, and they like the ideas, and I love that.
That's the best part, yeah.
But you're right. It's all about the bride, and that's where the word comfort comes in. Is the better comfort you are, the better the shoot day is gonna be.
Right.
Shoot day, the wedding day.
The wedding day, yeah.
And also the photographer. Like I prefer going forward to talk to them, meet them, see what their style is in terms of communicating on the day and going back and forth. Because I've had experiences where I had a really good like work
rapport,
and somewhere I just wish they were a bit more thoughtful and not like next. I'm like, I'm here too, and I want to do a couple of shots
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like,
Remember me. I'm
may
still
I,
here.
may I have a permission, ma'am?
Yeah.
You know,
it's usually like, they do the shots and then you're doing the shots.
Yeah,
but
that
kind of thing.
That's where
That's the ideal situation.
That's the idea. But then I realized I can't be afraid to like speak up to myself and be like, hey, I want to do a couple things.
Yeah.
Just so
Right.
you can do your job. But I've had some really good photographers who we had just a really good fucking vibe.
That's great.
And I'm like, that is like that's what I call a good day. Where you have no feelings.
When you had the vibe.
Yeah, when you
the
don't
good
feel like
vibe.
you had to sacrifice some of your things, and you had to have a very good balance.
Good balance. That's always very important between a
Good
photographer
balance.
and videographer. And I have a great balance between all the photographers that I've worked with before in the past. And, it's very, and that's what we sort of speak about during the, before it even starts is, you do your part, and then I'll, chime in with, my little, taste and spin on things, so it's very, organic in that approach to making sure that, we're both getting enough, content.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's all about, making sure that they're happy at the end of the day and without any,
What are your favorite things to shoot on a wedding day?
Ooh.
What is something that you really just love doing?
Man, there's a lot of things I really enjoy doing. I love having,
Not saying that you don't enjoy the other ones, but something that you really love. For me, it's the romantic scenes, the romantics. If they love that,
the romantic scenes between the
groom and the bride. Yeah.
Okay.
And who else
Right.
would it be? The dog?
I love having the solo shots are I really enjoy doing because that takes, you're getting familiar with them as well as you're also getting familiar with, like, okay, I want you to, maybe walk for a bit and getting that little walk and getting, a little bit more like, okay, this is your day. It's about to happen, just be in your moment, and you sort of see what, looking back at the footage, I sort of look and see like, okay, wow, they were really in this moment. And I think that's very powerful and very, worthwhile when, because they don't see each other during that part.
Are you emotional? Are you emotional?
I'm emotional.
Do
Yeah,
you sometimes
I get a
weep a
little,
little?
Yeah. I
Me
get a little
too, dude.
emotional. Yeah. I get a little emotional whenever, the groom or the bride get a little, emotional, or maybe they're speaking about something that's very to the heart. And especially during like the ceremony and they're giving out their vows or something like that. I, really love that. I think the icing on the cake is, I think the icing on the cake is when, the bride comes out and the groom is like all in tears.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And out of all the, circumstances that I've filmed, it's like, normally that's like the highlight is like, wow, okay. And this is sometimes well done and well put when they don't have a first look. Is when she is walking down the aisle for the first time and then he sees her for the first time. And bam, the tears come down sometimes. I mean, most of the time they do. So that's when it really hurts. And that's what I really enjoy seeing is beautiful reactions. And if you know me, I'm always smiling behind the camera. I love what I'm doing. I enjoy what I do.
I saw some
Yeah.
BTS actually.
Yeah.
From one of your shoots, and you were just smiling there.
Yeah. Cameraman Ham. So I love
Cameraman
Ham.
Ham.
Look me up. Cameraman.
Nice,
So
nice.
and I often get the encouragement like, Michael, I see what you're doing. I can tell that you love what you're doing because you are smiling and you enjoy it. It makes us feel a lot more, happier, and we love the way that you are directing us with a smile on your face and, getting that real nice, authentic, vibe, because all that you want at the end of the day is smiling faces, enjoying their time. Let alone, you also want those romantic moments, like you said, like the nice, intimate moments where they're, maybe butting heads, with the nice skyline in the background. And that's what I always like seeing is beautiful landscapes. I mean, I'm a big landscape guy. So whenever, we get the bride or the groom, out on a landscape, I'm not talking like in front of trees or bushes, because I don't think that's, but really capitalizing on the location, whether it be a valley, a farm with a nice greenery in the background, or a garden in the background rather, or
Speaking of location, I took this one wedding from one of the companies I told you. It is far, but it's because of the location, and I wanted to do it. It's in Pigeon Forge.
Oh wow, that's out there.
So all the mountains are in the back of it.
Yeah.
Of the
background,
venue.
yeah.
And I was actually looking up how I could do the drone there. I might be able to do it because I've seen their site. They use drone shots. They might be on the edge of the what is it called? The national park.
Oh wow.
So have you done weddings in national parks or around national parks or somewhere around there?
Yeah.
I meant to ask because
I've
you've been a
done-
pilot for a while.
Yeah, I've done national parks. No.
No.
I wish I.
Because they have
I've done
a flight restriction.
I've done stuff out. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, I've not
Yeah.
done any drone stuff outside of national
Can
parks
you-
or anything like that.
Talk to somebody. Can you get some kind of permission?
You have to go through, the FAA and get that LAWNC thing, the authorization to actually do that. But yeah, I typically go about doing that through, the drone zone and
Yeah, I
applying
know
for
what
an
you're talking
application
about, yeah.
and going through that whole thing. And that's another thing too, is making sure that you have the right authorizations.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've been doing this for 6 years, so it's like and I've been I've been a pilot, FAA pilot for 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, about 5 years.
Wow.
FAA license. So
Dang, are you ready for the other one?
yeah, I'm doing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm good.
I
I'm
know,
actually
it's-
I'm kind of feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah, you feeling
I'm
it?
feeling over the last one, but yeah, I'm looking forward to
Okay.
this guy right here.
Hey, great talking to you, bro.
Is that it?
No, heck no.
Okay, good.
I'm just making sure everything is
cool.
running.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Do those batteries last long or?
They do, but I have a bunch of batteries, and a lot of
Okay,
times
that's
when I
good.
need to shoot for long, I use an external
Recorder or external battery?
an external battery.
Okay.
I every time I go to a wedding, I carry one of these.
Yeah, that's
And on
good.
my gimbal, I have a small version of this, and it literally lasts for half a day.
Well,
which is
half
pretty-
a day is okay. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
And then only one battery. So I have a battery in the camera, and you see it on the left side down
Yeah,
there.
okay, yeah, there it is.
There's what is it called? An external charger.
Okay.
And I just plug a USB-C onto that.
Very nifty. Very nifty. Yeah, you got all the things.
And
there,
that's for my recorder, my H4 Essential. And I get the H4 Essential sound, and I use that as a monopod sometimes. Or
This
the
guy.
past few weddings, I put that in the middle of the aisle,
Mm-hmm.
and then I check the other angles.
You use that as a monopod. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was actually looking to get a
Not even a
larger
tripod?
leg.
Not even a tripod. You don't use that?
No.
Okay. You don't even get a tripod. Okay.
But I could put it on that one, but I was kind of sketched out putting a larger payload on some of these things, but that supposedly can hold like 20 pounds.
Oh wow.
At least that's what I saw. Okay, so let's see how this is gonna go. So, got this Antler Specialty Goods. Not sponsored.
Oh, the product. Yeah.
Not sponsored yet.
Yeah.
Antler Specialty Goods. This is this was by the venue where I shot the wedding this past couple of days ago,
Oh wow.
and the venue was co-owned by these guys.
Co-owned. Oh
Yes,
wow.
so
Okay,
I did a
cool.
little shoot for them too because I love freaking coffee. Had a
Heck
lot
yeah.
of talk with them about coffee, and they're I should have written all this stuff down, but I told them, hey, I'm gonna buy one and use it in one of these episodes. So gotta tag them.
There we go.
Antler.
boom.
There you go. Specialty goods, processed, Termico natural from Costa
Yeah,
Rica.
from Costa Rica. Wow. Heck yeah.
Single origin. Okay, so let's take our first whiff of this. Ooh, man.
Well, that is potent, very potent one.
Look at that. There you go. It just got it. There you go. I love this f1.2 lens. It's my favorite.
No, 1.2s are great. 1.2s,
Yeah.
the f-stop, yeah.
Oh yeah, this smells good. Let's see. So there's this process called dialing in, which means that there's a recipe that you're trying to follow. In this case, we're using a 2-to-1 ratio. 1 part coffee and 2 part water. So
Okay.
if I'm using a 22 gram portafilter, that would mean that 22 grams of coffee bean goes into this, and 44 grams of coffee comes out. And there is a time, it should take between 24 to 36 seconds.
Okay.
It's a yield time.
Okay.
That's how much the infusion takes. And this will be the first time I'm making, so I may or may not mess it up.
Here we go.
But well, I wouldn't call it mess it up. It's just the process. So I'm gonna make this for myself because I'll make sure that you get a good one. And you can try it 2 ways. We either have it just black, which should taste pretty good, or with foamed milk. It's up to you.
Oh, I'm gonna stick to this this iced coffee here.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. As I pour it.
You're not gonna try this?
I'll try it.
Okay.
I'll try a sip.
There it is. My funnel.
Oh, that's good.
And now smell this. A complete different kind of a profile.
Yeah, very, very different. Yeah.
See? And it's a medium lightish kind of blend.
Very interesting. Okay.
If you move it around, I know it's so funny.
We're just getting high off this stuff right now.
I know that. I know it.
Coffee stuff.
Usually I would have a little stirrer thingy to stir this, because you want to make sure that you declunk everything, which I am actually gonna bring because I'm anal about this. I'm excited about this. Oh yeah, it's very citrusy.
This is a very impressive coffee maker. What we got going on
Oh, I've probably made close to 1,500 espressos
here.
in this machine.
You are not a coffee addict. Yes. Teasing.
I
No, I'm teasing.
I
am
am.
messing with you.
I am.
No, I
No, it's okay.
like I said, I started coffee, back in film school, and
Let's see.
then that's how I got the whole introduction to coffee.
Let's see how it goes. And it's gonna be my first with this bean. Okay, that means that this bean
It's too thick.
needs to be a bit coarser. That's part of the dialing process. That's all good. So now we need a coarser. Wow.
You really ought to have You really ought to have a camera right here getting this whole process. that you got
I
going
already
on.
recorded all of that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's part of the intro video.
Oh, okay.
I spent like an hour just recording me making coffee.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, at home I have this cold brew maker.
Oh,
that,
yes.
Where you just put put the coffee in the water, and then it sort of does its own thing while you put it in the refrigerator for about 12 hours, and it sort of, cold
Cool.
brews itself, which is great. So,
So you make your own cold brew. What do you
yeah.
make it out of?
just Starbucks coffee. Yeah.
Which one?
The medium roast. Get the actual term itself, but I do like trying regular or different types of ones.
I like their blonde roast.
Oh, blonde roast is good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm curious how this will come out. It was funny when
Very interesting process.
my future brother-in-law and I got together in Gatlinburg.
Oh, cool.
My fiance side of the family, they have a timeshare there for the past 20-some years. And he brought his home roasted coffee, and I brought this, and we spent like literally hours messing around with coffee.
That's interesting.
And tastes and flavors.
Oh, that's fun.
And it was so funny. I had to are you guys coming, doing some hiking at all, or you guys are just gonna make coffee?
Yeah.
Which was really funny.
And this was a gift?
No, I bought this.
Oh, okay,
It was that thing, the coffee roaster that you saw earlier.
It looks like a really great gift. Yeah, this is...
The coffee roaster, I loved it. The first season, I actually roasted 7 pounds of different region coffee beans.
And that's a coffee grinder, correct?
That's a coffee grinder, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, that means that it's still a little too... I'm getting there. Okay, you see that thing over there? That's called channeling. That's not something you want to aim for, because that can introduce over and under extraction.
Okay.
Which hinders the taste. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's
I really like this cold brew that you made. This
You
is
like
really
it?
Good. Yeah. This is
Really?
good, yeah.
Smell that.
Wow, that is strong. Yeah.
I can almost tell you that I'm not far from a good brew, but this is definitely the right
That
step.
is a good cold brew. I mean, I must say that it's strong.
Then
but it's
cheers
also,
then.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah.
Boom. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. That tastes kind of like what they made. You want one?
Oh, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, you stick with the
cold brew. I love the
cold
cold
brew.
brew. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you liked it. I'm
Yeah.
glad I made it. That's
Yeah.
with the Colombian bean.
Colombian. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not far from the right one.
Yeah, these are awesome guitars.
Oh, thank you.
That one looks really impressive.
That one was made by my uncle.
Oh wow.
And I've used that for the past 15 years-ish.
Wow.
That was a collaboration between Jim Yaros and Tony Nagy. He's my uncle. He did the finish and he put it together. That's a 7-string. That was done. That's a
7-string.
That's my model. That's a fretless guitar. There are no frets in it.
Oh, okay.
And you can play in between the notes, which is fun. And then some of my acoustic guitars. I've got a guitar banjo there, a nylon string. I've got it's one of my favorite guitars over there, this blue one. I love this guitar. I got this last year when I turned
Wow, well done.
30.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then I've got a 12-string. I play all sorts of instruments. This is a very interesting instrument. I have to find the one that works. That one is just a decoration.
Oh, that's all good.
And my very first bass guitar is 5-string, the one on the right, the one with the stripes. That's my very first bass guitar.
Okay.
And this instrument, the organ, that was free actually.
The organ.
The organ was free.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, it looks a little played with. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It needs cleaning, but I don't use it as often as I wish because it needs work.
Yeah.
But I love playing instruments. I remember I got into playing guitar. I found the guitar in the attic in Hungary, and I was going back and forth between different stuff. I couldn't have I didn't have patience to do anything.
Gotcha.
But then guitar was the thing.
Gotcha. When did you come here to the States?
So my little story there is I was born here. I was born in North
Oh,
Carolina.
okay.
My dad was in the army.
Okay, cool.
And when I was 6, 7ish, moved to Hungary.
Oh, 6.
And moved back when I was 17.
Okay.
And
Do you have like dual citizenship?
I
kind of
do,
thing?
yes.
Oh, that's
I have
cool. That's
American and Hungarian.
awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. I went to a special high school there that had 2 days a week. It was just music or your choice of art. They taught dancing, visual art, and music. So I
Gotcha.
studied jazz guitar there.
Wow, that's cool.
And then 3 days it was just the usual type of stuff, math, history.
Interesting. Jazz guitar out in Hungary.
But I'm a big rock-based dude. Like
That's
my
cool, yeah.
bass is AC/DC, and
Yeah.
got into fusion.
I see the guitars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much rock and roll. Yeah, 100%.
And I came back to the States, and I went to college in Boston. I went to Berkeley,
Whoa. Okay. All right.
and I studied. I wanted to be more than a guitarist, but I wanted to be good in my instrument. So I studied guitar performance, and I studied production.
Wow, guitar
And
production.
Guitar and production, and
Video
and
production or what?
not video production,
Oh,
music
just
production.
Music production. Okay.
Yes, so a lot
'Cause
of
that term can be very like
I
misplaced. It's like
know.
producer. I mean, it's like producer of
Yeah.
what? It's like video producer. Or are you an audio producer? It's like okay. Like I get kind of like I see people like, oh, you're a producer, and then I look at their profile. It's all audio stuff, and it's like okay, he must be an audio producer then. Okay, so it's like
It's an interesting term because back in the day, producer didn't really mean the same as now. Back in the day, it used to mean that you're just overseeing certain things. You're the man oversees budget and yada yada, but you're not really the creative person per se. I could be wrong. Don't kill me if I
you're
am.
just helping people get it done. Really.
But nowadays, a producer oversees the what the sound is going to be like. So when I work with artists, it's like, what is your sound palette? What artists do you like? Where do you see your sound be? Let's play around with the sounds and create something that sounds you.
Yeah.
And then my job is also recording it, doing all the editing, mixing it, mastering it. So it's from the before to the post-production.
Oh wow.
Which can be a lot. That's also when we talked before about education and things like that. I feel both you have to have good conversations with the client, and the client also have to know what they want and what they need.
What to expect.
Because if they don't know what they need, I could be a wrong choice. And I think I've definitely experienced that in my earlier times. Because now, after years, I definitely have to have a few hard conversations to make sure. Because I produce stuff that I poured my heart into.
Right.
But the artist didn't really, and it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I want to see things that I put my heart into go somewhere.
Yeah. Right. I agree. Yeah. I mean, whenever I get, a low balling client, it's like, maybe $250 for an 8-hour day. That's not going to work. Not at all. I'm, hardcore on that. I'll say, maybe I know a high school student who's getting into, videography, and, maybe he can be, of service to your, budget. So, but it's like, because I've done, 5 years in film school and then 6 years professionally shooting, editing, and creating content for businesses, professionals, events, and everything in between. So I have the experience and the
The equipment.
The equipment, the equipment is also a thing too. So it's like you have the equipment, the expertise, you come with all this experience, and have just showing that you are of value rather than some guy who just picked up a camera.
Yes.
So it's
equipment is one thing.
There's a difference between those types of people. It's like okay, all right, there's also a difference between shooters too. Like some people just point and shoot and that's it. You know what I mean? It's like of course, sometimes with a wedding, you're sometimes pointing and shooting when it comes to like the ceremony, you know, because, you know, you have maybe, you know, one wide shot and then the other two over here, you know.
Well, you have dynamic shots
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
move,
yeah, 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 yeah.
parallax, and all these
Right.
kind of like, you shoot with what it will look like.
Right.
So you think,
What will
this
look
is how,
best?
yes,
Yeah, what will look best?
this
What
is
will
how I'm
look
going to edit it. This is what I want it to look like, but you also have to shoot it in a way.
right.
You know,
That
there's
it's going to
this,
look compelling
yes.
and interesting,
Mm-hmm.
while all at the same time.
What are the things that, what were the most important lessons that you had to learn?
Wow, that's a good
Or
one.
what are the things, I don't want to call them mistakes, because I used to look at mistakes as I don't want to make any.
Maybe challenges.
But what were challenges that you had to overcome to move further?
I've had many challenges, and I think we always learn from the challenges that we have. And I think, you know, I think it's, I heard this term, or I saw this term once, and it's like, you know, a smooth sea doesn't make for a skilled sailor, if that makes any sense. So, you know, yeah,
I like that.
A smooth sea never made for a skilled sailor. So I think that's, you know, I've had challenges with, you know, making sure in implementing, like I'll say this one challenge I had was, I had several shoots outside of Tennessee where I was a solo shooter. So I was shooting audio, shooting audio, pre-production, and working with people that aren't very comfortable on camera. So, you know, coaching them that way. So, and this was like, you know, one of my first, you know, not first times doing this, but this was like, you know, going out of state, bringing all of this equipment along, and going to do a couple vignettes for this company. And it was very rewarding experience. It was a very challenging experience, knowing that, you know, I was going alone. It was all by myself, shooting, editing, all the things that I just mentioned. So, and then working, coming back with a, you know, well-made, well-produced product and all of that. So that in and of itself is, you know, a challenge. But I learned from that challenge, and I experienced that challenge and took that challenge head on. And, you know, the client was very happy, very, you know, like immensely happy, like, oh my gosh, we got so much content. We got, you know, and then I did, you know, like I said, several vignettes for them, and they really enjoyed it, really were ecstatic about, you know, all of the quality and well production that I was able to, you know, make. And I was very happy that they were happy at the end of the day, because I also included motion graphics, editing, and all of this sort of stuff. So, but yeah, and then after that one, I went on to doing several other ones around. That one was out in Dallas, and then I did another one out in Sacramento for them, and then did another one in Tulum, Mexico. So it was, you know, one thing after another, and, you know, and from that experience, I mean, that was challenging, because it was just, you know, it was my first time, you know, going out of state to do something that was, you know, for a client. And of course they paid me to, you know, do all of this. So it was, you know, it was a benefiting experience while also being a very challenging experience.
How did you feel? Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was, I mean, going into it, I mean, I made sure that the pre-production was there. I had, you know, a call with them. I had a call with the people that I would be working with as far as, you know, directing them. So I had a call with them, making sure that, you know, this video is going to be for this video is going to be for that, this video is going to be for that. And they detailed, like, okay, for this video, we're going to be going over here to shoot this. We're going to be going over here to shoot that. And out in Dallas, like, you know, one location here, one location here, one location there. And then out in Sacramento, it was just all over. So, you know, going from this place, then this place, then this place. And I have that experience coming from, like, the real estate side. I would have to, you know, I also shoot real estate videos. So going from house to house, shooting homes is, you know, no big deal to me. Like, you know, I would go out to West Tennessee for one shoot and shoot that house, and, you know, going over to like middle or Northeast Tennessee and shooting a house over there.
Same
So,
day?
no,
Oh,
not
okay.
the same day, thank
Dang.
goodness. But it was. But sometimes 2 to 3 shoots, of a listing, of a couple listings a day. Um, so that was a challenge in and of itself. But I'm a very, very hard worker. I'm like stone cold. Like, okay, you tell me what to do, I will do it. I will make it happen, and and you will be super happy about it. I mean, it will.
I like it.
Yeah. So.
I like it.
Just read my Google reviews,
Oh,
Um,
I have
yeah,
been.
you have. Oh, okay,
Yes.
cool, awesome.
I mean,
yeah.
you post them also.
Oh, yeah.
I love that you have your branding,
Yeah.
and then you have the brights comments in your branded photo,
Yeah.
and then you post it. I love it.
Yeah. So
I
that's-
love it. You also have your hat.
The
I
hat,
really
yeah.
love it. It's very
Yeah.
smart. It's very good branding.
Mhm.
I'm going through a rebrand
Oh, good.
because I had a company called Invisible Heroes.
Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
I saw that. Yeah.
I parted ways because I wanted to
Were you-
do the things the way I envisioned them.
Were you with a partner at the time?
I
or
had
no?
a partner, yes,
gotcha.
but we couldn't scale things up to a point where it would make financially sense for the two of us.
Yeah, that's hard.
We didn't make enough money to sustain ourselves,
Yeah, that's hard.
which is difficult.
Very difficult.
Like
yeah.
we started as 3 people when we came out of college.
Wow.
And we were all, I feel like we were financially not very well educated on what it would really, and we thought 3 people, 3 times as much work, 3 times as many clients, but we thought wrong. It was a really big lesson, to be honest with you, that I thought so much about, and also I put a lot of time in actually making my mind up and saying I don't want to continue this.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting married, we won't have kids, we're gonna buy a house, and things
Yeah.
like that, and this doesn't work.
Yeah, that's hard.
It was hard because it was also my 2 best friends then, and then my other best friend, another friend.
Working with best friends is challenging.
It is challenging,
very challenging.
but also 3 cooks in the kitchen did not work because
What do you mean 3 cooks? Like 3 creatives?
You know the saying, 3 cooks?
3 cooks, 3
So we all
creatives?
were music producers.
Oh,
and we
okay.
all like to produce and do videos and basically everything. And there was no central idea. In a way that there
that's
was
hard.
not one person that says, we're going to do it this way. And there were a lot of challenges. Like, I love both of them, really. But there were a lot of challenges. And unfortunately, those challenges we're always looping, and one person was very difficult, so we moved from him. And then after COVID and all these things, there were some challenges that happened with my other friend.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it just couldn't scale up, and we worked so much. We were always
What was your forte? What was your go-to?
we did a lot of music production that was dark pop.
Dark pop.
Dark pop, yeah.
Okay, that's
so it's
interesting. Okay. It's like dark humor almost, but.
no dark pop is referred to like Billie Eilish,
Oh, that's
where
cool.
you have like instruments that
Are very low.
you use. You like do a lot of sound design things, like
Yeah.
stuff that isn't a drum, like recording a coffee maker, and you tune it down.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Things like you fart, and then that will be your snare sound.
Yeah,
I
that's
kid you not,
interesting.
I used that before.
I kid you not. Fart sounds. All right, so that's interesting. Okay.
So dark pop is like
Probably not gonna implement that into my-
unconventional pop.
okay,
Gotcha. We did a lot of that, and we scored a bunch for music libraries, and we wrote a song for a well-known German artist.
Okay, cool.
But the difficulty there was scaling up, and we had like I wanted to do a lot of content. I'm a firm believer of try, do, and don't sit on things for too long. Like if I want to work on a song, let's do it and let's put it out. Let's see how it does. Let's see how people perceive it.
Yeah.
Or if I have a marketing idea and and I want to see what it would be perceived. Let's try it. Like there's nothing that you can lose from it,
Yeah.
and you can learn a lot from data, and then you take that in, you consider the data from outside source, and then you move depending on how that is performing.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that, but there was a lot of sitting around and no action, and I did not like the no action.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest hurdle. And since then I've been doing this myself since last November.
Doing what? Doing this? What do you mean?
Doing videography, content creation, just doing the same thing but the way I see fit. And I'm very happy to say that things are way better.
That's great.
You know,
yeah, I think that's very
such-
valuable when, you know, you have to change things. Like I was, you know, primarily an editor for the first 2 or 4 years, 3 years. Well, I was an editor for this one company that did doctor videos during my last year at Watkins, and so that was good. So, you know, editing and stuff like that, and then went on to doing some more editing stuff for other commercial companies. And then after that, I mean, then 2020 happened, and had to kind of change gears and do, you know, videography, which is what I want to do and what I love to do. And so it's, you know, so changed gears in the path that I wanted to pursue, and then that led to multiple more things. So I think that's very valuable. And, you know, in your case is that you saw that, you know, the people that you were working with weren't putting in the effort as much as, I don't know, maybe as you wanted, or
I don't know. I don't want to be judgmental, but I think, honest to God, I think we all wanted something different, but thought this would be a way to it. But you hit it right. I think, and it's just my addition to it. I think fear has to do a lot with going forward. If you're not afraid, or you say, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. What else do I have to lose? Like, I'm gonna go and shoot videos because that's what I want.
Yeah.
Like, what I wanted always is I'm a very quirky guitar player. I have my own kind of unique style, and
Very cool.
when I did a lot of videos of it, it went somewhere, but I never really, I was, I guess, too afraid to just do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if people are like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do what I really love and do the steps and learn from it,
Yeah.
I think people get more happiness out of it. I mean, you're shooting more than you did before.
I'm
That's
doing
what
a
you
lot
really
more.
wanted.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
yeah.
sorry, you do more because you said, hell with it. I'm just want to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So-
wanted to change courses, and, you know, hey, this is, you know, honestly, thank goodness, well, you know, it's important to, you know, understand what you want and think about ways you can get there and take action to do it. So I think, like, even like we were talking about challenges, the biggest challenge for me was, you know, starting an LLC. And that was the biggest challenge because, you know, going through that whole process with, you know, making your payments and all of this. And thank goodness that, you know, Tennessee has, you know, it's relatively affordable to start your own business in regards to, you know, all the other thing, you know, like California, I think it's like $700 or something like that to start, you know, an LLC or whatever. But, you know, it's, but the challenge for, you know, starting and making it happen, you know, is hard. Let alone it's a hard decision on, you know, yourself. But also I think it's important to understand and know and to have a good backbone. And a backbone could be, you know, friends. It could be family. It could be...
what do you
know,
mean
people,
by backbone?
Backbone, like people who support you.
Oh, a support system.
A support system, yeah.
Yeah,
A support
yeah.
system that
Oh,
helps
yes.
you, who knows your worth and loves your worth. And I think that it is, you know, important in the line of work that we do. And, you know, people want to do work with people that they like, know, and trust.
I agree
And
completely.
you know, yeah, so...
completely agree.
And...
That's why it's important that if you work with people, they also believe in the same things. You know,
Yeah.
being a good person, a good hang.
Right.
They also know and they invest in good gear and things like that.
Right, yeah.
'Cause all that is important.
Gear's
Gear is
expensive.
important.
Yeah, gear's
And
important.
it is
it's
expensive.
Yeah.
It's expensive as heck.
As I look at your 2 drones over here, it's like, okay, all right, yeah, but I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I got that like when I got my license. So there's
Oh.
2.5 year difference between the two.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
It's expensive.
it's
Yeah,
expensive.
It's expensive.
And I pay every month for them. You know.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh,
You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not on one. You know, but I try
Right.
to make like every time I think about upgrades, I'm like, what would make sense? What could make my content look better?
Yeah.
What could bring me more clients? I mean, it's not like I'm gonna go and buy it, right? You know, just
Right
because.
then and there, yeah.
You have to have a, what is it that can help me pay this off? What is it that can, is it gonna make sense? Like this microphone that we're using.
Yeah, this
it
is
sounds
amazing.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's such a big upgrade from the other one.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I don't need the other one. I just wish they had whites.
Yeah. The
But
white mic.
The
yeah,
white
yeah.
mic.
Yeah.
Yes, because this records inside and it transmits to the camera if I set it up. But
That's still good,
and
though.
it sounds great. So like, what are the expenses? How does one make the choice of when to upgrade, how to, and then how to manage financially all these things? I think that's one thing that I wish college would have taught me was financial information. Not
yeah.
being a like what it would like financial EQ, or I don't know why we should even call
they don't
it.
teach you how to be an entrepreneur. They don't teach you how to do any of that stuff.
And
They
that's
just-
why you gotta kind of trial, error, fail, unfail. I don't know. Like if I call the previous business a failure, I would call it a learning experience.
Yeah, exactly right.
Because you have to learn how to make a decision. So I had a teacher who said any decision is better than no decision at all. Because if you're trying to make a business decision and you sit on it for days, then you're stuck. If you make a shitty decision, at least you can make something that will make it a better decision.
Yeah,
Or
there is a
correct
bit of risk. There is a bit of risk that you have to, take, especially when it comes to marketing. Like,
Yes.
okay, you're spending this much money on, let's say putting out an ad for your business or, a creative business, and you're putting out an ad, and because you're investing money, maybe hundreds of dollars into, an ad or something like that, that hopefully will give you some revenue and stuff like that in regards to, getting a client. But it's, investing, like I did a wedding expo. So I spent,
friend of mine did that too.
Yeah,
How did it work?
It went really well.
Yeah.
I got, probably 35 interested couples.
Wow,
so
that's
that
cool.
was very, because I had my whole booth set up. It was all decked out with like 2 monitors because all that I did was video. So it had to be in motion and everything else. So I had one that was laid out vertically, and then another one that was laid out horizontally so that people could see the vertical and the horizontal. But yeah, it was really good, really great experience. It was my first time doing a vendor expo, so it was a lot of course you're paying 900, maybe.
I was gonna ask. I had a friend who paid around 700.
Yeah, $700, but then there's also like $300s of dollars that you have to spend on, like the actual booth itself, like like putting out, business cards, like the marketing brochure and stuff like that, so that you can have people, take something home with them. That whole thing.
How was the conversion worth it? Did you have a good conversion rate?
Well, it was my first time, so I had, but I did have a good conversion rate.
Okay, so you made the money back at least.
Yes, I did. I made.
What
the
are
money
you?
back.
What things are you looking for before you up your prices?
Before I up my prices, what do you
your
mean?
package prices, or do you price your packages based on the client's needs, or do you have starting points in your mind?
Yeah, I have starting points in my mind, but also I try to cater it to the actual event itself. But honestly, I charge by the day.
So you have a flat fee?
Flat fee for the day.
What about editing? Because then comes editing
Yeah,
too.
then there's editing too, right? So I charge the editing by the actual video in itself. So, a 1 to 5 minute video would cost this much. 5 to 10 minute video would cost this much.
Interesting. Okay, so it's more like you shoot a wedding for this cut price.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into
Yeah, I'm not getting
no,
into
that's,
anything.
It's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. I don't
Yeah.
want to pry or anything,
Right.
but it's a learning thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of folks, you know.
Yeah, I talked to, a couple wedding videographers too, and, I look at their marketing and I look at their pricing, and, you could see what, things they're doing to,
That's part of their job.
Yeah.
It's being aware of what, but I hate to say competitors, but
being aware of what other people are charging,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that you are
yeah.
actually charging, what's
Yeah,
right for
yeah.
you too. So making sure that you're in the same ballpark,
Because
while also being, flexible.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's important.
Because I
too.
think value is also how well you're marketing yourself.
Yeah.
Because somebody, I don't know how to say it, but you know what I mean with that.
Yeah.
And what people find valuable, and how are you, us, communicating that? That's why we have to
That's
try.
right.
I think,
Communicating with the client, like, this is how
Yeah.
much it's going to cost. Like, that's very important. But like you said, like, yeah, getting into the whole, like, making sure that because I think we're talking about weddings a lot here, but like,
I know.
that's the
I
thing
mean,
that
that's
we're
where
both
we
competitive-
bonded
yeah,
on the lot.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
it's like 8 hours, of filming. I mean, you're thinking about, in regards to video production, I mean, that's a whole day. 8 to 10 hours is a whole day. So you're thinking
Yeah.
about, and again, with videography.
Okay, let's take out wedding, for instance.
Okay, let's take out
any
wedding.
sort of like event, because like
Yeah.
concert, any of these things are like once in a time. You can't be
Yeah.
like, hey, can you play that song again?
Yeah,
but
everything is on the moment. That's
Yes.
the thing. Everything is like, okay, momentum or whatever. Like, you can't, have them kiss again.
Yeah.
You can't have them, go walk down the aisle again
Nope.
because this person was in the way. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta, make sure you're there on Johnny on the spot. And
Yeah, that's
doing all that
why
stuff.
having a reliable gear, but also us as operators have to know how to use our gear as best as possible. Like, I know really well how to use this too.
That's great.
Like, close my eyes, know how to set it
Bam.
up.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's why I like to spend with these things, because I want to know, because that gives me comfort.
Yes.
And I know my settings. I know I'm gonna color it, and it's a routine. And
So you color your own work.
I color it. I try to mess around with stuff.
Yeah.
If I shoot my own weddings where I'm editing it, I'm shooting log,
Wow.
because I want the full dynamic range. I have the phantom lots, which costed some money. It was like $80 to. Have you used phantom lots?
I've not used
They're
Phantom.
fucking good.
Okay.
They're really,
You got to
really
introduce
good.
me to those lots. Okay,
Phantom
cool.
lot,
I've thought
everybody
about
loves.
it's just I use Premiere, so it's and I'm not much of a colorist per se.
Oh
so
man, me
I'm-
and coloring, I'm very far. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a colorist, but
I don't want the
mingle
client to
with
come
it.
back to me like, oh, I look peach. I look, all that sort of stuff. Like, okay, I don't want you to look like peach, and I want to be sure that I'm, yeah. So that's
And I'll tell
another
you-
thing too. So
Colorist is
Yeah.
a whole other thing. When when we were shooting this music video and we shot a log, I think my partner spent like a lot of time coloring it. I spent a little less. I tried to use lots.
oh no,
But it worked out. It worked out. But that made me realize how much of a role that it is also. Like all these things like that we're doing, like lighting, audio,
Yeah.
this and that. That's like so many people
so
want.
many things. Yeah.
Where if you go to like a movie shoot or something with
You
a
have someone
decent
doing it.
budget,
Yeah. Mhm.
you can focus on your thing solely and
Yeah.
be creative as possible. And you're like, I'm going to shoot in this angle. Oh, and I have to put a mic on it. You don't
Yeah,
have to light
right.
it.
Right. Exactly right. Yeah.
So it's like as entrepreneurs, like thinking about all of these roles that we're doing. How are we gonna scale things up? How are we gonna make a livable wage and things like that? Insurance that we have to
Oh, yeah,
buy,
insurance, oh, gosh.
car, gas, and
Yeah.
all these puppies, and how to manage also when the money comes in. How do you put it so that
Yeah.
you have savings and things like that?
Right.
Which blows me.
Yeah, it blows me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, like I've been working with my insurance agent, who I am, very blessed to have. And and yeah, I mean, having, you know, the proper COIs and having, you know, the proper insurance, let alone drone insurance, and making sure that, you know, that's all, you know, forecasted. And
Do you have insurance for your camera?
yes, for my
Who do you have it
one
from?
camera. I have it through Erie.
Erie? Is it a month-to-month or a yearly
It's
plan?
a yearly plan.
Yearly plan for that camera?
Now, that camera, yeah, it's through my insurance, and it's through my whole equipment is through my insurance. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
just that flat fee. So,
Interesting. So everything. How does it work?
insurance?
No, not insurance, but that.
I'm not the right guy to ask about insurance. I am not the right guy to ask.
Mike, the insurance guy.
Yeah, I am not
So
anywhere.
you have like a list of
near.
things that you attach to it, and then they
Yes.
cover whatever happens.
They will cover, yes.
I know that was a very dumbed down thing, but
It's hard. Insurance is very hard to think about, let alone I'm still learning it too. So it's I've had my insurance for about for as long as for the past 6 years I've been in business. So and it's insurance is always hard because I have one insurance for my car and then insurance for my company, and
Wow.
then it's. I mean, you have a car too, right?
Yeah.
And you have
Car
insurance for that.
insurance. Yeah,
Is
of
it all
course.
on one thing, or is it
It's Geico.
Geico? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
car,
And that's okay. The car. Yeah. So.
But I need to see, these are other expenses as business owners. So
Yeah.
so that's why I'm like,
Mileage and stuff.
that's the
and
cost of doing business, or overhead costs.
Overhead
that
costs.
we would call them.
Yeah, I typically put the overhead cost in my booking, so it's that's the hey, if you want me to be there, then this is how much it going to cost to book me, and that's all in there. But it's insurance is.
But you don't.
I don't like
typically-
paying for insurance. Nobody likes paying for insurance, but you got to do it. And it's like that was a whole new thing with me with having a business. It's like, oh, I'm going to need business insurance. I'm going to need my own card, like my own business card, to run transactions off of. I'm going to need some sort of financial person to help with like making sure that my taxes are done right at the end of the year and everything else. So that's another thing is taxes, and being a creative, you're not really, let alone a solo entrepreneur or a solo business owner. It's like you're, granted, some people are brought up that way, like, oh yeah, they know about financials and stuff like that, but being a creative, this was all very new to me, and so yeah.
I agree. I wish these things were taught early on. Like when you go to some kind of a creative school, like you have to study how to be a businessman. Because first and foremost, you have to learn how to sell yourself. You have to know how to manage your money, and how to insure yourself, and and how to have contracts. Contracts is another thing.
Yeah, productions. That's the thing.
think.
It's like production. I had this one production class back in film school, but I didn't really care. I mean, I didn't honestly. Nobody really cares about any of the financial stuff, the contracts, the documents, and all this sort of stuff. And and then I did really well in that class and everything else. But but then at the end of the day, it was, when I graduated, I was taking on full-time work and stuff like that, and it was just. Going. Oh, I should have taken that class a little bit more serious, but I mean, it was.
Feel you,
It
yeah.
was, but yeah, I think YouTube University is always really great, and I've been very blessed with like mentors, and like getting that camera, the C70, was also like brought about like things that we're thinking about in my head. Like I have a Z cam. And it doesn't have a whole lot of autofocus, and it doesn't have ND filters and all this sort of stuff. And then I was seeing people putting out content that was a little bit see, there's the thing where the audience sees something that you don't see as a creative. Like okay, they don't see the 10-bit dynamic range that this camera has, or they don't see how the light falls off this person, or that kind of thing, and
Subliminary, I guess.
Yeah. So,
But there's some things that only we care as shooters, as recording engineers, as producers.
right.
Where were you going with it?
I don't know where I was going with that. I forgot where I was going with
I
that.
think
forgot.
I know.
Yeah,
It's like what you perceive as the creator and what the audience perceives.
Right, exactly
You
right.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's
and
true.
Like my, like I listen to a lot of podcasts. Like
Same.
there was this one podcast called the 505 Podcast, which I listen to all the time, and I actually talked to Brian Figge, and he was really great, and we had a very brief call about the C70 and his experience with it. And it's like, Michael, I mean, honestly, the Z-Cam that I had was pretty much sitting on my shelf, eating up dust and all of that.
It wasn't making you money.
It wasn't making me money, and I was like, okay, great picture out of the camera, love the colors and everything else, still use it to this day, occasionally as a second camera, but honestly, I needed something a little bit more viable to succeed with my business. That made sure that I had the right dynamic range, that was cost effective while also being in the line of work that I was doing, which is cinematic video content for businesses, professionals, and events. And I needed something that can be a solo shooter almost, where it had everything inside it while also being very professional in the quality that I do. So
that's how you chose this camera.
That's how I chose that camera.
I bet you put a lot.
And I've also used that camera on several other shoots. And that's the thing. I was using this I was renting out the C70. We can bring it up.
Oh yes.
To show it.
Do you mind?
Yeah, that's cool.
Dang.
Yeah.
That looks. That feels good to hold
it.
Feels
good. It's a.
Wow. Look at that. All you Sony people are going to hate on me now. Just so I'm holding a Canon, everybody. A Canon. I'm shooting on 2 Sony cameras.
Yeah. That's your new profile pic.
Yeah,
right there.
the new profile pic. Is it safe to hold it from here?
Yeah, oh, good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to do a picture.
Yeah, we
come
should do
over
that,
here.
yeah.
Let's be on this camera.
I don't know if it's
3, 2, 1. Camera people. Camera people.
Here we go. Okay. No. Do it again. And I'm going to point at it.
3, 2, 1. Camera people.
There
That's
we go.
fucking
Awesome.
funny.
Yeah.
Dang, man. That honestly has a good weight to it.
Yeah, I used it on several shoots.
If you're turning me into a Canon person,
it is
I'm
now,
gonna laugh.
Yeah. But I used that camera on several shoots, and I was renting it out. And
how's the IBIS on it?
so when I was renting it out here and there, I was realizing that I was investing more with this camera, and the more shoots that I had, it was just a no-brainer to invest in it. And so
You take really good care of it. It looks really. How old is it?
it's about a year or 2 old. Yeah, 2 year, about 2 years, 1 year, 2 years. But it's I also bought it used, so.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, refurbished and everything.
That's what I did too.
Yeah, that's the best way to go about it. But yeah, it has all
Wow. Autofocus, right? Do you use any
Autofocus.
cine lenses?
I can't afford that right now.
There are some budget-friendly ones.
Oh, there are.
SLR, Zero.
Oh, that's
SLR,
yeah.
I think.
I forget the name.
I don't.
I
That's.
know you're the one.
Ciru.
Yeah,
That's
Ciru.
Ciru.
Yeah, Ciru. Yeah.
They make the Nighthawk. Is this APS-C? What's
APS-C.
That's APS-C.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's got internal stabilization, which is great.
Dang, it
I
feels
mean,
good.
I notice it, but I'm sure the people that I do content for don't notice it. But
Do you use peaking or
use
zebras?
peaking. Zebras.
Do
Very
you
rarely,
do a lot of manual focus stuff or you just
all
auto?
All auto.
Same.
Pretty much all auto, and it's got the face detection too, so it's really comes in handy when it's weddings. So I can like go from focused on here and then focus on you.
That's awesome. I like how this also has this thing over here, but it has a
Brought
good
to you by
weight.
Canon. Yeah.
People, it looks like I might have to. So, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I
so
love these two
Yeah,
cameras.
these are great. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, be careful.
It has.
Yeah. Yeah. The screen can be a little bit flimsy.
Oh, okay. Wow. Awesome. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to see what it looks like. When you were showing me earlier, I was super impressed by all the stuff that it can do.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah, I wanted to sell that camera actually to get an FX3.
Oh, okay.
I
Then you'd have 2 FX3s.
That's
good.
an FX30.
FX30.
It's the same basically, but with an APS-C sensor.
Okay.
That's the difference. I just love how the cinema that setup is looking like. Like I love the options there. Although they kind of did something similar with that one, but they're bringing shutter angle in this one. I love how you can also tell that it's recording and there's a record thing and an internal fan. I don't know. They supposedly FX3 and A7 S3 are supposedly the same, but the other one is more cinema look.
Oh wow.
Cinema in terms of the body. But wow, very nice.
Yeah.
What's the f-stop on this one? 2.8?
2.8, yeah.
2.8, nice.
That's what I like to stay around, is like, whenever I see a lens that goes from 2.8 to 4.5 or something like that, it's like, okay, no go.
Because it moves.
Yeah, it
it's
moves.
gotta
So
be
I'm
constant,
constant
one,
2.8. So
nice. Well, I'm
and
excited
of course,
to try
these lenses,
this.
yeah, these lenses are also expensive, as
Yes.
they are like $1,400.
But the full frame lenses are way more expensive.
Oh yeah, I remember.
That's why.
Is that full frame?
No. That's
Okay.
crop and that's full frame.
Oh wow.
And funnily, I actually prefer
It's a
this
nice
one.
lens though. That's a nice bulk.
Thank you.
bulk
That's
lens.
the Mark 1 of Sigma 2470.
Oh, Sigma. Yeah, I love Sigma.
I love Sigma. Like I love this lens. I can't trust it enough. Like that. Honestly, with the 1.2 factor, I get better low light with this than that.
Oh, okay.
Which is funny because people are like, oh, full frame. Although I must
Yeah,
say,
that's right. Full frame.
although the dual native ISO on that one is, if I'm shooting log, it's 12,800.
12,800
I can tell you that
for the native.
for the second native
Second
ISO.
native. Wow, that's high.
It's very good. Like the
But it's
funny,
really good.
dude. 10,000 grainy as hell. 12,000 the same as the base ISO first
That's
base.
crazy. Yeah.
And all of the picture profiles have a good dual native, but the S-Log 3, I'll tell you, it looks just great.
Oh, that's great.
And this one's dual native. The second one is only 2,800 in S-Log 3. So there's a big difference there. So that's still gonna win, but the f1.2 here does help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I'm very excited to shoot with this.
Yeah, we'll also have a bigger battery with that.
Yeah?
Too, but
Nice.
Yeah, it's
does-
we'll be recording.
Anything
8
else you want me
hours.
to bring? I'll bring a bunch of stuff, but can you charge this via USB?
No, we're not going to be doing.
No, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so we're going to be using just batteries.
Batteries, okay.
All
All right.
The batteries will last, hours, so that's good. So
And mostly on a tripod. What does this
Yeah.
do?
that is a thing for gripping.
Really? Interesting. I like how you have this handle. Do you do a lot of
Yeah.
run and gun type of stuff?
Yeah, with
Like
that,
without
yeah.
any gimbal
Yeah,
or
yeah,
any
yeah.
sort of stuff?
Sometimes when I'm like, like before, like quality, like detail shots for,
Mm-hmm.
detail shots. And what's great is, with 4K, you can always crop in.
Yeah.
So I typically,
Yeah.
run with that lens the whole time. And it's still good though. I mean, even with the crop in, you still get
This
the
is
thing.
basically kind of like a 2470 with the crop in factor.
Right.
Because it's APS-C, right?
Yes.
That's the funny thing when people say,
Yeah,
oh, it's a
1.5
crop
or
in.
1.4 or something like that crop, yeah.
When people say a crop in with these things, you just have to count in the crop in by for field of view.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind it, yeah.
I don't mind it. I
Yeah.
don't care. You
Yeah.
just count the 1.5 factor, and then you buy. If you want a 2470, you just buy a different one.
Yeah.
But I love shooting with that one. Is a 2023, which is about 35 millimeter. I shoot most of the things on the wedding days with that one.
Yeah, I typically shoot everything, that lens, and it still works really great.
Nice, awesome. You want to hold it?
Oh, yeah.
Here you go.
I'll hold it as I
Right
talk.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, we're gonna have to have a second chat sometime
Okay,
in the
yeah.
future.
That sounds great. Yeah,
But,
I'm down.
Where can people find you?
People can find. Hello. Oh, okay. People can find me at Cameraman Ham is my Instagram. My professional and business Instagram is mph_media_LLC. And you can find my wedding Instagram at mph_wedding_film, mph_wedding_films. And you can find almost all of my body work on mph_media_LLC.com. And if you'd like to see more of my work, feel free to email me at michael.ham@mphmediallc.com. and feel free to, follow, like, and connect with me. So looking forward to connecting with you and hope to, work with you soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Danny.
Mike.
Thank you, Danny, for having me.
I loved having
awesome.
you.
Yeah, this was great.
Loved having
love
you.
This. Yeah, love your spot and looking forward to doing more work with you.
Yes,
I think
sir.
This would be
Yes,
really
sir.
Fun.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to the shoot. I'm very excited to see the Canon world.
Yeah, heck yeah, the Canon world. Yeah. There we go. Yeah,
I'm gonna still be Sony. I love my Sony. But yeah, looking forward to it. And see you next week when we're shooting. And,
yes, sir. Yeah.
And then we'll have to do another one.
Yeah, we'll do another one. Yeah.
And we'll try maybe a different type of coffee.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Take care. Take care.